So the All Black team is out for the second World Cup match against Namibia right here in Toulouse. Boys, a few talking points. I guess the first one, Damian McKenzie is in, Jeff, at number 10.
Well, it's exciting to see that. Mils talked about it in the paper. He wanted to see it, so obviously he's got the inside word. He knew what was happening. Look, I'm not surprised at this. They're looking for some sort of impact from the guys who didn't play in Paris. This is his massive opportunity. If I look at the side they've selected, Cam Roygaard gets another chance in the All Black jersey. There are some players who are pushing for selection, Mils, and probably for me, those are the two. If they can have a strong performance in this game, their stock can certainly get higher.
I don't think there's too many surprises, guys, in terms of, I think the only thing would have been if he reverted back to his starting sort of 15 from Paris. But in terms of, I think, McKenzie obviously needed a crack. You've got to remember, a lot of these guys haven't played for a very, very long time, so perhaps they're just sticking to the plan that they came into this, regardless of the result last week. The Roygaard situation, like it as well, because he brings something different. But you've got to look at we'll look at the backs. Havili hasn't played much. Anton Leonard-Brown hasn't played much. He moves out one, and so and then you've got Caleb Clark, who's come back in, and Lester Fainga'anuku. So in terms of game time, it's valuable game time for a lot of these guys. And then you look a little bit, forward. We forgot about Luke Jacobson, didn't we? In some sense, because he was off the bench last week. But the fact is, we might need that sort of Luke Jacobson guy to come on and just really start hitting bodies. I think we sort of underestimate him a little bit because he just goes out there and really hammers his job.
Who are the guys who have to make a statement, Jeff, in this game?
I think there's a few guys, particularly up front, and I think for Ofa Tuangafasi and Nepa Lalala, they should dominate this game. The fact Samasoni Tokiaho as well, the fact that experienced front row, the size of that front row should have a real impact on this game. They've got plenty of engine room behind them in terms of their locks. I mean, world class. That combination is back together again in Sam Whitelock and Brodie Retallick. So I don't think for this forward pack, particularly the tight five, there are any excuses for me, Nisbo. They should go out and dominate and set a platform that this back line, which has got all sorts of talent, we see the return of Caleb Clark, Lester Fainga'anuku, Beauden Barrett should get some sort of front foot ball to work off. I don't think there are any excuses for the group now. With all that experience, they have to perform.
And Mils, I guess Ethan de Groot will be itching to get out there after Paris.
Yeah, he'll be wanting to make things right. I mean, I don't think he actually played that bad. There's a lot of emphasis on the fact that our scrum didn't function, but I didn't think it was actually that bad. A couple of loose ones. But I think he will be. He'll be itching to get back out there. Newell gets another opportunity off the bench to sort of get some more game time. I'm with you. I think there's no excuses in terms of our tight five in terms of the experience. The only one thing I probably would say is how are they going to play? Tokiaho, he hasn't really got back to his form from last year. Is this now an opportunity for him? Coles comes off the bench as well. We've seen Cody Taylor. Is there still an opportunity for someone there to sort of go, okay, we'll put their hand up and become that starting hooker? But for me, really, it's Damian McKenzie. I think, it's his real game to really try and shine, because regardless of, if it was me, I'd put him back to fullback by the end of the game and give him that opportunity to say, well, here's a guy that would possibly be looking off the bench, and sort of what can he add in this game in terms of those two positions.
Nisbo, I'm not letting you off the hook here, asking a couple of questions and not getting your opinion out there, but should this be a wounded All Black team? Should this be a team that does return and bounce back after the frustrations over the last two games, the game at Twickenham and now the performance against France? Yes, it may be Namibia, but for you, what would your expectations be of the group?
Good question, Jeff. Any All Black team that's been beaten is a wounded All Black team, and to lose two in a row and by record scores is going to put an awful lot of pressure on, isn't it? I think we still have to remember that there are 4 key guys who are injured, and we don't know when they're coming back. So somebody has to step up and make a statement here. And look, we've played Namibia twice at World Cups before. We put 50 on them in 2015. We put 70 on them in 2019. So it's going to be a game that we're going to win. There's no doubt about that. But we've got to win it with some sort of style. And you were dead right about domination up front. I think that is absolutely vital, because we didn't get that. The other thing that we didn't really get in Paris, whether you agree with me or not, I don't know, is impact off the bench. We need impact off the bench, don't we?
Yeah, I think we do. How we finish games is going to be critical. Something that we've relied so heavily on for so long has now not become a strength of our game. And whether or not that's the responsibility of the guys who are coming off the bench or the players who are on the park, not going the distance. I don't think we should always put it on those reserves, Mills. The fact quite often it's the guys who are having to continue to go on and play the full 80 who they have to keep their standards high.
I think a lot of it would be your latest statement, the fact that the guys that are starting the game, you know, a lot of those guys will probably feature off the bench, and whether the coaches see that. Two guys for me though with valuable experience that we need to really step up is probably the captain, Artie Star there, and also the guy at the back in Bowden Barrett. I think those two guys, this is a game now that they really need to sort of really step up and be right above, you know, the rest of the players, which I'm looking forward to seeing them, you know, do.
And we must mention too Sam Whitelock, 148th game, equaling Richie McCaw. What a great servant, and he's still got a job to do.
One of the greatest locks ever to put on an All Black jersey.
Totally agree.
Totally agree? Okay, we'll finish with a fun fact. For the third World Cup in a row, Brodie Retallick and Sam Whitelock will combine in the All Black middle row against Namibia. There you go.